Okay, first and foremost, let me just do a short introduction of who am I. Here's a QR code. Just feel free to scan it, or you can drop me an email if you need to. If you want to talk privately or whatever over LinkedIn, that's actually the thing that you can scan on there. Okay, I'm actually one of the owners of Blackstone Consulting. But let me just share the reason why I want to share about this. My background is just to just to let you know that I'm just as normal as anybody. Okay, even though I'm an investor myself, I'm just as normal as anybody. Okay, came from secondary school, normal 5 years instead of the typical 4 years. I was from ITE, Mechatronic, Singapore Polytechnic. I studied material engineering. Universities, I did two. One is Oklahoma and one is in Western Sydney. I started a company, a mobile security company in 2005. And I got lucky. I managed to sell it off in around 2011. And since then, I had been involved with investing in startups, structuring companies, scaling companies, and then eventually sell some of the shares and make some money. Because of the pandemic, I'm actually spending a bit more time in Singapore now. So I can't travel, or rather I don't want to travel. So I spend more time working with my team. Mainly in Blackstone. It's actually a consultancy firm. What makes us a bit different is that we start company, we structure company, and we scale companies. We focus on Southeast Asia. So companies, overseas, they want to come over to Singapore. Then this is where we come in. And recently, I got involved in Xpreneur. That's where Rebecca, who did the introduction just now, more in the edutech side. Okay. So what is Blackstone? As I mentioned earlier, we covered quite a fair bit of things, but what's interesting is that what is Black and what is Storm? Black in the sense that because we structure companies, that also means that we fix companies that are in trouble. Sometimes they are in red, and we try to move them over to black, meaning that making a profit. Storm simply means that we move very fast. Probably because of my experience, I was based in Hong Kong, based in China, based in US for a couple of years, and in and out and all this. We usually don't take projects that are too long. We quickly come in, settle the projects, move it in, and then typically we target at around 100 days. So that's the positioning that we take. Okay. So now the topic is how to raise funds for your business. Okay, come. So let's look at first and foremost. Okay, let's look at the common reasons why you won't be invested. Okay, I know that if you're expecting something like a talk about what are the tactics 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's start off with why, if you are planning to raise funds, why you will not be invested. And these are actually the common reasons. Okay, common reasons in the sense that when we work with a lot of companies, a lot of owners, we tend to find this very common denominator. Okay, where surprisingly a lot of them actually make the same mistakes as many. So these are the few. Okay. Take note that these are something that you should not do. Okay, it's not there's something that you should do. Let's look at number one. Okay, whenever you're doing pitching or talking to anybody who may or may not be your potential investors, okay, never do something like this. Such as there are many other investors who are ready to put in the money. Invest earlier or you may regret. Okay, never use such tactics. Okay, why do I start this? Is because a lot of us, when you start doing fundraising, you always think of the perfect thing to do. But sometimes you actually forgotten that they are like us people. Okay, they have emotions and their people are also sensitive. So sometimes when you try to do a threat, try to do a push and pull, it may actually backfire on you badly. Okay. Number two, never name drop of some credible people, but where none of them are actually your investors. I think this is one of the biggest challenges. Where sometimes when you talk to a potential company, they will tell you, they know who and so forth. Yeah, sure. But the thing is that when you try to drop names, but yet these are the people who actually are not your investors, then the question will always come back. Okay, why in the first place don't you go to them to do investment? So this is something that we have to take note. Okay, another thing is associations with questionable character. This is very important. Okay, especially if you just bump into someone and then you start to pitch without having a clear identity of where you stand for, what you stand for. Okay, this is actually very, very important. When I say questionable characters, doesn't mean that it has to be criminal. It doesn't mean. Okay. In fact, we came across a lot of companies, a lot of startups, founders. They probably spend a lot of time on the social media, the Twitter, on the Facebook, whatever. Sometimes they display a certain character, okay, a certain characteristics, personalities, and then sometimes they attract different friends, and they talk a lot of nonsense online. And when some of them are considered as questionable, maybe some of them are they don't believe that there's a vaccine, okay, for this virus, okay, or they don't believe that women should have equal rights. And then you start to talk about this, and then when people start to do a bit of due diligence, they find out who you are, they find out who are the people that you associate with. Investors actually stay away. Okay. Another thing is not honest to review the background history of the founders or and your business. Okay, this is one of the most common one, where when you want to get investors, you try to hide too many things, and eventually they find out about you. Okay, this is actually very common, because some of us may have history that we do not want others to know and everything. My suggestion is probably you want to do a bit of cleanup first. Okay, you may want to do a bit cleanup and be very transparent about it, because the last thing that you want is someone to put in the money and then only to discover that you have actually intentionally hide the truth or hide some of the information that may actually make them think otherwise. So do take note on all this. Okay, another thing, running it part-time. Whatever said and done, you can come up with thousands of reasons saying that, no, why are you running the business part-time and stuff like that. Take note, not every investors believe in you running part-time and able to contribute just as much, because the money that they put to you is not a part-time amount, it's a full amount. Okay, when they put a full amount, they will probably expect you to minimally do it a full-time. So never, if you are really not ready, okay, you may not want to go out to raise funds, okay, saying that I can juggle here and there. This is always one of the biggest challenges that any investors want to put their faith on you just based on what you say. Okay, another one, weak strategies. Let's be honest. Investors don't invest in you just because they like your face, okay, or they don't invest in you just because they like the way you talk, or that's it. Okay, the thing is that you must always have an exit strategies for investors. Every investors have different needs and wants. If you do not have an exit strategies for your investors, it is almost impossible for them to even be convinced to put money into you. Just imagine if I were to put money into you and you tell me, Paddy, no worry, when the time is right, okay, you can make money. So now here's the question is, when is the time? Okay, and how are you going to exit? And why should I exit? And what are the value proposition that you can actually produce with my money that you can create out that another investors may come in and buy the shares or invest in the company? No integrity. I think this is quite straightforward. Okay, without any integrities, it makes it very difficult. Okay, for anyone to invest in you. Or maybe that you have all your founding members of the same skills, and you yourself actually don't see it as a problem. Funny story. Lots of I was from engineer. I was an engineer, business development engineer, where I was involved a lot in PALM PDA. If you're old enough, you probably know what is a PALM PDA, personal digital assistant. In one of the partners that I used to work with, they're all technical guys, and they believe very much in their development. They believe very much in their R&D, their skill sets and everything. Nothing wrong, but the problem is that they are always stuck. Okay, because none of the members in the company actually see that there is actually a need to know how to sell better. They have good product, but they do not know how to sell. So they just sell based on function and feature, and then that's it. So this can be a concern to a lot of investors, because if everyone, especially the founding members, have the same skills and none of you see as a problem, this can be challenging. Okay. Another thing is that this is a bit more crucial. CEO is self-centered. Okay, it's all me and no one else. I met a lot. Okay, it's all about them. They came out with some fantastic ideas. They want to launch this, they want to launch that, but it's all about them. And to them, it's without me, the company cannot survive. Okay, why? If investors, the last thing that you want is that to have someone who is supposed to lead, but he's a lone leader. There's a one-man island. Okay, no one can run a business in this way. Okay, most likely you have to do a very top-down approach, and that can force a lot of businesses to go a different direction than what you wanted to. Okay, And it's okay to lie and cheat to get its way. Okay, don't be surprised. Okay, I know a lot of them were talking about fake it until you make it or something like that. But take note, fake it until you make it is quite borderline. Okay, and if someone who actually thinks that it's okay to lie and cheat to get your way, especially if you massage the numbers, you massage on the forecast, abuse the relationship that you have with potential investors, and they don't really look into numbers or they didn't really dive in, and then you just play around with the numbers, and then eventually you get the money. Trust me, it will never end well. Okay. Second, you got to prepare. You see, the thing is that when we talk about pitching, a lot of people always just think of it as, let me just remember what are all the things that in the PowerPoint deck. I just pitch accordingly. But it doesn't work this way. Okay. If you are able to do a pitch, okay, and then you get the money, congratulations, you're fantastic. You're probably the top few percent in the world who can actually do that. Because the rest of it is that investors actually have to do more than just being convinced by your pitch. In fact, it is usually the Q&A, the questions and answers that they ask you. And a lot of them are probably not even answered in the PowerPoint. So for example, these are the few things that I always do when I meet up with potential, founders or business owners. The few things I always ask is, who are you? Very simple question, but not all of us are able to answer it properly. When someone says, who are you? You say, oh yeah, I am Paddy Tan, I'm this and that. Yeah, sure. But here's the thing. What is the context? What is this whole thing about? Why such a simple questions? Why would the investors actually ask you? So even before investors ask you, you have to answer all this clearly, be very concise, be very consistent. Who are you? Okay, why? Because if someone is going to give you the money, they need to know who are you as a person. Where does this money going to go into? Okay, because if I'm an investor, I'm probably a minority shareholder. If I were to put in, say, $100,000 to you, I own, say, 5% of it. Okay, so here's the thing. I only own 5%. The rest of the 95% are probably people that I may not know exactly that well. But if you are the one who's going to be pitching to me, or if you are the one who's going to be leading the company, I need to know who are you. So if you are planning to do fundraising, you have to answer these few questions. And here's the thing, don't lie. Okay. If you just share of exactly who you are, that's it. Be honest about it, be transparent about it. Okay, there's nothing, because it's very difficult to remember a lie. You probably gotta end up lying more to pack onto the lies. Okay, so try to answer this question yourself. Who are you? Next one. How long have you guys been around? Meaning that your company. Okay, why? Because sometimes investors will be able to look back. Okay, so you are now in the phase of fundraising. So, but your startups, your business has been running for 3 years, and probably during these 3 years, let's say you started in 2019. So 2019, late 2019, and then 2020, there's a pandemic, there's this and that. So sometimes investors can actually pull all this information, they gather it together very quickly. So when they ask you, how long have you guys been around? Hey, guess what? So did you started your company during the pandemic? And what kind of circumstances, did you actually start it? And how do you guys get through the whole entire thing? Okay, these are the answers. These are the good questions that, if you can answer properly, answer it well, it can actually give you a plus point on that. How do you differentiate yourself with your nearest competitors? This is important. I think the most stupidest things that I have actually come across is when someone tell me there are no competitors. They are the one and only. And when you ask things like, what's next? So you're saying that there's no competitors. So can someone who saw your pitch deck with more experience than you, with well-funded than you, and then come up with something that they may probably already in that market segments? Can they actually come up with that? Okay, so you have to know where are you going to differentiate yourself to your nearest competitors. I'm not talking about even indirect competitors. Okay, who are the shareholders? Again, if you just started a company, then probably it's very straightforward. Some of you guys are founders. Who are the shareholders and everything. Okay, why investors ask is because if I talk about shareholders, are we talking about someone who actually comes in with money and then that's it, or is it coming in with sweat equity, or is it coming in with combinations? Because such kind of combinations, will come up with various a lot more permutations. And then this is where investors will actually look at what is the risk assessment. Okay, how does it get affected by shareholders. And with these shareholders who owns, maybe let's say shareholders who own 30%, but he or she actually don't get involved in the day-to-day operation. Okay, how does that impact on the company? The brains behind this business, this is important. CEO doesn't mean that he or she is the one who drives the business. Sometimes he or she is probably the guy running out on the street, be the poster person, meet up with investors, meet up with clients and everything. But it may actually just be the COO who is actually the brain behind. Okay, why? Okay, you see, the thing is that what happens if the person who is actually not able to articulate, okay, his or her concern or his or her directions and not able to articulate well, because you are investing not only now, you're not investing in the present, you're investing in the future. So you also want to know who the person is behind. This is important. Working experience and histories of individuals is just as important, so that you can actually find out from interviews, videos, and articles. Okay, but this slide is actually quite straightforward. I won't go into point by point, but typically, I think a couple of things that you need to look at is why do you need to fundraise? This is very important. Okay, don't give some half-baked answers. Okay, if you need to fundraise, you must know exactly why are you raising it for, how much are you raising. You need to come up with all the answers on this. Okay, the next few one is actually quite straightforward. The drive behind this business. Okay, I mean, for me, is that when I invest in the companies and stuff like that, I need to know what is your drive. And it is perfectly okay that today, when you are raising funds, this is your drive. And probably down the road, subsequently, your drive may get bigger, or you may minimize it. Okay, but you have to let others know and potential investors know exactly where are you standing. Okay, because if your drive is I just want to make a profit, and there's nothing wrong. To be honest, there is actually nothing wrong to tell others that I'm actually here to make a profit. Okay, but what will be interesting will be the drive is actually make up. That means you came up with a fake story saying that, oh, my drive is to world peace. My drive is to provide, equality, support the LGBTQ. Yeah, but actually, once you get the money, it's a totally different story. When that, when there is a misrepresentation, you are going to be in one hell of a problem, one hell of a trouble also. Okay. Let me just jump to the other one. Number 3, who do you want to invest in your business? Okay, so here's the thing. Very interesting. Okay, so now when we talk about who do you want to invest in your business, a lot of us, when you have your business and everything, a lot of them will just say, yeah, I want investors. Okay, I want someone who has money. Sure, no problem. But how do you get these people, and why should they invest in you, and what are you going to do the money with? Okay, like for example, there was a case study that we had. I said this person wants to raise only about 100,000. Very early stage. He wants to raise about 100,000. So we asked him, hey, so why do you want to raise 100,000? His reason was actually quite simple. His reason was that he wants to spend the 100,000. Okay, I mean, they're already doing R&D and perfectly well. They wanted to spend the 100,000. Partial majority of it is actually for marketing. So if this is the case, okay, nothing wrong with that. So my next question to him was that, okay, so you need someone to give you 100,000, you give up the shares, and then you're gonna take the 100,000, probably gonna hire a CMO, gonna get external agencies and do all this. Yeah, he said yes. Okay, so what happened if we are able to get an agency who the owner himself is actually an investor, is a high net worth individual. So he may not even need to give you the 100,000, but in return, he can actually support you much more, because if it's just 100,000, you're going to use it to hire, you're going to use it to get an agency and everything. What happens if the investor is someone who already owns media agencies? Now, whether it's online, it's offline, would it be easier for you to actually get him or her to come in, invest in you? Probably not even 100,000, but the value that you can get from this person may actually be much, much higher. Okay, so hope that this case study will be useful for all of you guys. Okay, first off, here's the thing. When we talk about investors, so first and foremost, I always take it as there are a couple of rings that we need to look at, circle of your network. The first one is that if you are looking for investment, the first and foremost that you should look at is someone who actually knows you by your name. That means they actually know you. They know what have you been up to. They actually see you in social media. They actually responded to you. They probably, when you shout out to the world saying that, hell, we just launched our first prototype and things are going well. And we need tester, we need this, we need that. So some of these guys who actually have been supporting you, have been, talking to you, giving you advices, okay, or even attend your talks, or you give a speech. And I typically take it as if the fella attended your talks and you bump into him or her more than 3 times, and both of you actually talk about it, and then after that follow up with you on the updates and give you a lot of advices and stuff like that. This is probably the kind of investors that you want to go and talk to. Do you know if he or she going to invest in you? Answer is you probably do not know. Okay, you probably do not know. But for someone who actually has been monitoring you, has been following you, he or she may actually just be the investors that you want. Because if you're looking for, let's say you're looking for 50,000, 100,000, $1 million, okay, you may not be expecting it to come from one single person. But here's the thing. He or she has seen you growing, okay? You grow, from a stage to another stage, to a stage to another stage. Okay, he believed it, okay? He or she saw the progress. And by going to him or her and say that, hey, I'm actually planning to do fundraising in the next 6 months, and I'm looking at 100,000. I could like to invite you, to give me some feedbacks and this and that, and look at my products and everything. What do you think? Okay, as long as someone actually who knows you, see what you have been up to, he or she may actually be just the person that you want to go and talk to. And when that happens, the kind of endorsement that you get is actually high. And even if he's not going to invest in you, it doesn't mean that, okay, he cannot go around to tell others that you are preparing to do fundraising. So here's what you should do. Okay, be consistent. Okay, if you want to share it on the publicly, on the bounty medias, social medias, to let people know about it, be consistent, because people do follow. Okay, like what we are doing in Blackstorm Consulting, we actually monitor, not stalking, okay, we actually monitor people who actually make a name in a certain aspects, and then we follow them. We analyze what they are doing. Okay, sometimes, we go and talk to them, say, hey, what's up? What are you doing? For Blackstorm, we don't invest, but we monitor, because when you see an up and coming, a rising star, a talent, you want to follow. Okay, you want to follow, and for all sometimes you can actually just stretch out your hand and then give just give a bit of support here and there. Second ring, okay, it's very similar to the first one, but now here is more of like someone close who knows some individuals who may be keen to invest in the industry or the verticals that you're in, and probably can even arrange for you to have a coffee session. It's a coffee session. It's not a pitching session. Okay, so if you have someone who can do that, oops. Someone not on mute, is it? Okay, yeah. So if you know someone who do that, who knows someone who can help you, go for it. Okay, like the second one, someone close who knows some VCs, family offices, corporate VCs, which may be keen to invest in these particular industry verticals and can get you a coffee session. Here's the thing. Okay, I would prefer not to just blast out the email to everybody, anyone, and say that, hey, this is my pitch deck. Can I arrange to have a talk and everything? Yeah, sure, you can. But if there's no one who can sort of like endorse you, it makes it very difficult, because I will need to understand who you are. Okay, I will need to see what kind of progress have you made. Okay, but the truth here is everybody is very busy these days. We are all busy. Okay, we are all very busy. So if for someone to actually find out exactly what you are doing and up to, okay, they are not going to just rush in to invest in you. It doesn't work this way. Okay, so it's always better to have someone who actually endorses you. Someone who actually endorses you, believe in you, trust you, okay, but they are probably not the one who invests in you, but they know someone who may be interested. This is actually how you actually expand it from your first ring to your second ring. Okay, the third ring. This is of course, first and second ring is always it gets a bit more challenging. The third ring is actually is a bit more challenging. Okay, first and foremost, you can actually identify what are the mandates of the various corporate investors, VCs and stuff like that. Because some of these, majority of them actually put up their websites to tell you what are the mandates, what are they doing. And even if they don't, you can actually see the kind of history that are the kind of companies that they had invested. And it may actually point to you a certain direction that they may be taking. For example, some VCs, some investors, they invest only in lifestyle. So when you sit down and then look at it, lifestyle, do I fall into that category? No. If it doesn't, then you probably don't want to spend too much time trying to go to someone who actually has no idea of what you are doing or no interest in the industry that you are in. So if you are going to someone who is actually in the blockchain, then from there you can actually look at, okay, what are the behavior? Then you can go to LinkedIn, and if you have some spare money, which I always highly encourage, if you have some spare money, go get a premium account, because in LinkedIn with a premium account, you can actually see much more. Okay, the digital footprint of their particular investors. Okay, you can do your homework. I'm not asking you to stop them, but you can actually do your homework and everything. And then you can actually find out, okay, what are they doing? Is this even who you want to? Because if you don't have first ring or second ring, your third ring means that you have to do much more homework. Because here's the thing, even if you find out who they are, they may not necessarily be interested in what you are doing. So this is always very important. Okay, so do some homework, and then pay a premium if you need to, pay for 1-2 months, and then probably get out of it if you want to save money. But my take here is that investments doesn't happen overnight. Okay, you need to get people to trust you. Okay, the last thing is tell the world that you are planning to do fundraising. Just tell the world. Okay, I know a lot of people will take it as it's a hush thing. I should not let people know. I like to give surprise and everything. Or sometimes I look at E27, Tech in Asia, all kinds of other tech source or all this. Like, oh, okay, wow, this company got funded. This company got funded. Why? Yeah, but here's the thing. If you don't tell the world do not know. Simple as that. If you are prepared to tell the world, it doesn't mean that you tell the world in a very public way or in a very unstructured way or unorganized way. You arrange, you plan, okay, on how are you going to tell the world. Telling the world doesn't mean that you have to do it in just a Facebook page and then that's it. Okay, plan it, because sometimes telling the world, you actually make it easier for people who you probably exhausted, first ring and second ring. And when it comes to the third ring, some people may just flip around and say, hey, well, guess what? The hashtag pops up. Interesting. Let me take a look. Oh, the timing may be right. Let's talk. Yeah, it may actually come into this. Okay. So now, how to get investors interested? That's where the differentiation comes in. Again, this is a very high level. I don't necessarily have all the answers of what investors want in everything, but I can tell you from my experience, these are the few things that investors are always looking at: people, product, process, potential. Okay, of course, there may be other words that can better represent them, but this is what I have. People. Okay, you and your team must stand out from the crowd. The definition here is, what is crowd? Okay, that is the definition. The definition can be, you're the best in the blockchain scene, you're the best in the payment, you're the best. When I say best, then this is also how you want to define. Is it because you win an award? You got case studies where the media talk about it, there's endorsement, your customers are very happy about it, stuff like that. Okay, so this is what I meant by people, because it is with you, the people who actually make up the company. Investors invest in good people, and investors like it if you are able to stand out from the crowd. Okay, if you are just someone who actually do a mobile app development, let's say, let's say you're a software company, you do a mobile app development. Now you came out with a fantastic mobile apps. You work with Samsung, you work with LG, you work with BlackBerry, you work with Lenovo. Yeah, sure. So if you talk to investors, hey, I'm actually looking to raise funds. So investors ask you, so what have you done? I'm a software company. I did it with Samsung, LG, BlackBerry, Lenovo. Whoa, wow, that stand out from the crowd. Okay, that can be one of those. Products. Okay, there are buyers. Okay, meaning that buyers who actually buy your products. Okay, simply put, okay, it is useless if you are a company where you can't sell your product. If there are no sales of products, why should investors invest in it? If you are thinking of investors, I need your money so that I can sell my product better, it doesn't work this way. There are many thousands of ways of how to sell a product. Okay, so you must get buyers. If you don't have buyers, means that you don't have traction. You don't have tractions, you don't have numbers. You don't have numbers, you don't have statistics. You can't do forecasts. Okay, you got nothing. When you don't have a product, a fantastic product, means that nobody is buying anything. Money go in, okay, it will just go into a rabbit hole. Okay, can your product be localized? Can you go regional? Can you go global? This is important. It doesn't mean that you have to go global, therefore investors invest in you. No, it doesn't work this way. the thing is that you have to understand where are your markets, okay, so that you can actually do a differentiations. So you can do market segmentations. It can be the same product, target the old folks, okay? Maybe the old folks in Japan, maybe the old folks in Singapore, maybe the old folks in Thailand, whichever. You must have the product that investors are interested in. Process simply means that are you able to come up, your products, your companies, your whole entire way of running, your speed. Are you guys faster, quicker, maybe even able to do it more cheaper and probably more sustainable? And can you even automate? Investors like this type of company, okay? Especially if you're a platform as a service, software as a service, you actually shorten the whole entire process for your clientele. And clientele sees value in it, and then they pay a subscription, and then they continue with it. This is your differentiations. Potential, okay, this is most important. Rate of growth, okay. So how fast are you growing? Are you growing in the different markets? Are you growing into a different industry verticals? And what is the potential for even M&A? This also goes back to your exit strategy. Okay, so this part, I won't go in too much. I've actually covered in a high level, but these are some of the details that I actually covered earlier. So for example, people, just to repeat, okay, you and your team must stand out from the crowd. It's a long process of letting others know the founders and the teammates, so build it up by offering help to others. Give advices, volunteer your knowledge, give advices from the experts. It may sound easy, but it's not. Because the truth here is that when we first started our own business, you always, you're in a rush. Okay, you probably sleep very little, eat very little, do a lot, and then you probably just focus on yourself. Nothing wrong with that. But take note, okay, eventually, as you want to attract users, you want to attract supporters, you want to attract investors, advisors, and all this. What is the best way? It's not asking people to give it to you. You should start by giving to the society, contribute it to the ecosystem. Contribute as much as you can. It doesn't mean that just because you are a new startup, you're a new founder, means that you got nothing to offer to the ecosystem. No, it doesn't work this way. Okay. Sometimes you may actually know a faster way to do calculations in terms of salary. Okay, and this is what you're building on. You're probably building an e-wallet that can actually convert fiat into cryptos, into blockchains, blah blah blah, whatever. Go out and give advices. Talk to the school, talk to the students, talk to a bunch of people. Just volunteer. Okay, because the more you do, the more people respect. Okay, and the more you get, okay, whatever that you contributed. If someone come back to you, hey man, Eddie, I think your advice is wrong. Yeah, good. Learn from it. Be humble about it. It's okay. Because the more you contribute into the ecosystems, the more people come back to you. And eventually, when you're ready to fundraise, they will remember, hey, you know what? That is the lady who's always so helpful to us. And now she is actually planning to do fundraising. We should support her. Okay, that's what you need. This is where your first ring, second ring, third ring all comes in. Okay, to have a track records, here's the thing, talk to the media, get your clients endorsement, do up video clips, doing interviews and stuff like that, give talks, write articles, your Mediums, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, do all this. You can't do all this overnight and hope that people will actually endorse you or someone who just see that, oh, wow, this guy is up and coming. It doesn't work this way. Okay, typically, to do a self-branding, to brand yourself, it can take years. Okay, it can take a long time. So if you don't have, if you see that, hey, it's too long, I don't want to do all this. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can. I'm not saying that you can't, but the thing here is that why not? Because it actually helps you to get to know more people. You extended, you expand your network. You help more people. Yeah, you may be busy, but maybe all busy. But if you try to, brand yourself up by helping others, giving good advices and stuff like that, eventually when you're ready to not only do fundraising, because fundraising is actually the easiest. Okay, running it with fun. Okay, running the whole company when you're funded is the most difficult, especially if you're funded like say 50%, 30%, 20%. You got your first 50% of 100,000. You have the rest of the 30%, 20% milestones to reach. Okay, this is where all your friends, your peers, your supporters can help you. And this is what I meant by the rings, first, second, third, okay? Products, okay, I explained just now. Who are you selling to now? Okay, and who are who are using your service now and later? Who will you be approaching? How do you sell and stuff like that? This is very, very important. Okay, if you're not able to give a very clear, okay, understanding of your progress, your timelines and everything, you just say that, oh, okay, I built and people will buy. Probably your mother will buy, okay, or your grandfather or grandmother will buy, but that's it. Okay, the thing here is that when it comes to the products, you have to know investors want to invest in you, on the company that can make money, so that the valuations can go up, they can make some money, and then they can do an exit. That's it. So as I mentioned earlier, product is the drive. Okay, can be localized. Okay, this is quite straightforward. Okay, I won't go in much. So the other one is I can fit the oh my god, there's a typo. Okay, details of how the products will evolve and how to fit into the right market. That's a fit. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. Process: quicker, faster, cheaper, more sustainable, and everything. You should give details on how you can achieve the above with clear and concise explanation, preferably with illustrations. Okay. When we talk about process, here's the thing. Process is not something that you can actually just touch and feel. Okay. But when the investors want to invest in you, they have to understand what is your, what are the methods that you use? How do you actually engage your clientele? How do you convert a clientele into a long term? How do you help your employees? How do you create your products? How do you do R&D? How do you do all this? Okay, this is important because if you don't have all these informations, they are worried that if I want to invest in you, how am I going to do it? So this means that you've got to provide measurable numbers for comparisons internally and against competitors. Potential, I'll just go straight into it, quite straightforward. Charts, tables, roadmap to have better people, better product, better process, how investors can exit and in various stage. Okay, so I'm done. So what I'm going to talk about is that it's not in the slide, but question is, where should, okay, I'm back. Let me just switch it off. My question will be, okay, so it's a couple of the typical questions will be, so, okay, Paddy, now I know all these are all the things I need to prepare, but how do I meet investors? How do I meet investors? Okay, one of the most common things that a lot of people will always ask, hey, okay, thanks for sharing, but do I email to them? Do I call them? Do I arrange for a cup of coffee? Especially now with pandemic, we are hitting like 3,000 plus per day now here in Singapore. Probably the government was saying that probably will hit 5,000. Okay, so here's the thing. If you're not quite sure what I mentioned about ring 1, ring 2, ring 3, if you don't understand what am I talking about, just download the deck, take a look, and really understand and try to see where I'm coming from. Here's the thing. Now it's because of this pandemic, it's almost impossible for us to meet anyone. Okay, especially if you are going to just pop an email and say, hey, hi, can I meet you? The investors is probably a family man with young kids that are not vaccinated. Okay, in this case, why would he or she wants to risk their life to meet up with you? So probably a Zoom call. So if that is a Zoom call, so what should you do? How should you present and everything? Take note. Okay, if you are like me, I'm stuck at home. Okay, I fly a lot. I used to fly a lot. Okay, actually forgotten the smell of an airplane. I used to fly a lot. So now here's the thing. If you want to talk to me, you want to present your deck and everything, don't do it in the evening where everybody is already tired, everybody is already worn out. Okay, there are a couple of time slots that you can actually look up. If the potential investor is an early bird, okay, if the fella is an early bird, okay, try to arrange an appointment so that he or she actually is fresh, okay, at the start of the day to be able to talk to you, to be able for you to present and to be able to discuss. The best time is usually 9 to 11. Okay, don't do it anything after 11. Why? Because if it's 11 o'clock, you start and things get interesting. Okay, he or she or you, maybe you guys start to get hungry. Okay, the attention span will actually get shorter. Okay, because most of us probably eat around 12 or 1 o'clock. So if you can try to do it around 9 to 11. Okay, why 9? Why not earlier? Okay. Well, other than the news that just been announced, primary 3 and primary 4 kids don't have to get exams and everything. My son is happy like crazy. Okay, he's primary 4, unvaccinated. He can't. Okay, so let's say for example, some of us actually have to when we have kids, we're going to prepare the kids for home-based learning. So that means the kids is always the number one priority, or at least the family members are always the number one priority. So this means that we have to prepare the kids, and most school starts around 8:30 to 8:45, at least in Singapore. So this means you arrange a meeting around 9 to 11 so that the kids will not be shouting and screaming, either your kids or the other party kids shouting and screaming, and then you get distracted. So that's the best time. And then if what would be the next better time will probably be your later afternoon, meaning that after 2 o'clock. That means preferably your 2:30 to about 4:30, and then that's it. Again, because some of us have kids, okay, and some of us are, after the home-based learning is done and everything, the kids may probably, start to get free, start to go crazy after 3 p.m. So that is also the time slot that you want to talk. Okay, if you're going to do your pitching and everything, don't give surprises. Don't think of, hey, let me just run the PowerPoint and then just click. It doesn't work this way. Send the PowerPoint over, put it into a PDF, and don't try to do things like put a PDF with a password and then get the fellow to sign NDA. Trust me, that will probably be the last time that you're going to hear from this fellow. Just send a PDF, that's it. Okay, investors see pitch deck a lot more. Okay, probably a lot more than I see my wife. Okay, so when that happens, it doesn't make sense for them to sign any NDA just to get things going. Just send the pitch deck over before the actual meeting so that the person can actually look at you. And most of us probably have 2 screens if you're working from home, or 3 screens for some of us. Okay, so the fellow may be talking to you. When you're pitching, you should let the fellow look at you, not look at the deck, because he is not investing in the deck. He's investing in you. So if you are going to be a solo guy to be doing pitching, please, by all means, okay, unless this is the second pitch or the third pitch where the investors actually want to see the whole team. If they want to see the whole team, good, but please don't behave like a kid where your PowerPoint slides of, let's say, 20 pages, you slice into 4 parts so that 4 founders can actually present, so that this is equal. There's no such thing as being democratic. Ignore it, okay? Someone who actually is very strong in presentations, be the one, so that the one who's going to answer the technical questions can be on standby. So someone pitch the whole entire deck, the other 3 person sit, not sit together, okay? On the different screen. Just get 100% prepared. Have the same background. Okay, if you have a fantastic background, please come up with all the backgrounds, and everybody should be the same. You don't have any Hello Kitty, you don't have any Power Ranger, all this kind of crazy wallpaper. Okay, so put all this up, present, rehearse, talk, but don't present like a pitch where you go slide by slide. It doesn't work this way. You're trying to get a fellow interested. You should zoom down straight away what he or she wants. So this is actually one way of doing it. Okay, so now we are talking about someone that you probably do not know. If it's someone that you know, probably on the first ring, simple. Don't forget about presenting pitch deck or whatever. Just email over, send it over, chit chat. Just do a very simple chit chat. Okay, one of the very interesting pitching that I have seen was that the fella actually asked for, hey, Paddy, can I have your address? I said, oh, okay, sure, why? So they actually sent me a breakfast. Send me a breakfast kit, breakfast with bread, with coffee and everything. I was like, oh, okay, that's quite thoughtful. So they sent it over to me. By the way, it's not bribery, but they sent it over to me, and it's like a breakfast. But we all know it's not going to be as if as I'm going to sit down there, eat the breakfast, and then while you're pitching, it's not. But it's sort of like, something special, something unique, and that happens last year. And guess what? A year later, I still remember. Okay, so this is something that you may want to create a bit more uniqueness. This is provided that we are talking about doing pitching on the Zoom. So this is applicable if you're investing in so if you're pitching to someone who is actually in a different country, maybe from Thailand, you're actually pitching to someone who's in Singapore or vice versa. Okay, so if you're talking about meeting up face to face, how do you get to know them? Join those virtual networking sessions. Join. Okay. When you're able to join networking sessions, even if it's online, okay, identify. Okay, for me, I don't just attend a call. I don't just attend a conference. I actually look for the name. So I open another screen. So I will start searching. I'll go to LinkedIn. I start searching for this person. Okay, cut and paste. Let's say, for example, we have a Stephen Cole. Okay, I have a Terence Ng. So I aga. Okay. Probably this is the fella. Okay, look at the face. Okay, Stephen Cole has a face down there. Howard has a face down there. Evelyn has a face down there. So I go to Google, I go and copy and paste, and then I save all the links. And then, okay, these are the people that may be suitable for me to follow up later. So this is actually one way. So after that done, it may be a very virtual event, nothing to do with pitching, but maybe I saw, hey, Evelyn. Okay, Evelyn Lake. Okay, so I search, I copy and paste. And then after that, I message her, I add her in LinkedIn. I message her, hey, hi, Evelyn, Paddy here. We happen to be in the same events. So what are you up to? What do you do? Blah, 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 blah. And then guess what? Have a call and chit chat. Even if she is not your potential investors, okay? Someone is sharing the screen. Oh, okay, yeah. So probably the mistake. Yeah, as long as it's not porn, it's okay. Yeah, so you may want to do that, just follow up, and then that's actually how you build network. So I don't believe that you have to be physically to be able to meet each other, unless you have lots of $300. In Singapore, if you do meetings and then you go beyond 2%, that's where you get fined for $300. So these are the few ways that we can actually expand. Because it's only an hour, I can't really squeeze too much information, but I hope that this has been useful. And I know that I received a couple of messages on questions. I'm done. Okay, I'm done. Thank you very much. But guys, if you have any questions, please post it. Please post it on the on the chat box. Then I can actually try to answer you. Okay, let me. Okay, okay, I got the latest one. What's the most challenging part when it comes to self-branding? Shyness. Okay, introvert. I think the part here is that we have to be realistic. If you're talking about self-branding, first and foremost, are you introvert, extrovert? Because there's always ways to brand yourself. If you're introvert, then you probably are not very comfortable, to be standing in front of people talking about it. But guess what? You are now behind a camera. So you are only behind the camera. So that means that you can actually brand yourself without having to talk to others. You can actually do one way first, meaning that you can share in articles, give insights of that particular articles. That means that you pick the articles that you're very familiar with, and then give insights and talk about it and really go deep dive. Because there are always people who appreciate smarter people. And when you put yourself out on that, others see that, hey, guess what? Hey, this guy is actually quite good. Like for example, last Thursday, I attended a similar talk. On the last Thursday, 8 o'clock, this guy, Benny, blockchain. So how I got to know him is actually quite straightforward. He was talking about blockchain. I was like, okay, so these are just one of the many guys who talk about blockchain. But he deep dive about blockchain. And this is very insightful. Because what you want is that if you're someone who's shy, but you have very good insights, you share it online. You don't have to share it live. You share it online. You keep sharing and give insights. And this is where people start to realize who you are. And guess what? Eventually, you can actually grow a pool of followers on that. Okay. What are the best fields to get venture capitalists to invest in if we don't have an idea where to start? Okay, good question. Don't ask for investment. Okay, if you are not quite sure where to start, then my suggestion is don't start with investors, because the last thing that you want to do is that you're not clear of your directions, you're not clear of your goals, you're not clear exactly whatever is going on, and then you throw it to investors. Investors is just like you and I. We are emotional creature. Okay, if you end up wasting the time, you can probably forget about next time you coming back to them. I don't think there's there are all types of investors in the world. Some companies actually spend a lot of time, building up the latest cutting edge technology. Okay, and then it will probably attract a certain groups of investors who only go for cutting edge. Okay, and some of them no. Some of them are very traditional. Okay, some of them are very, very traditional businesses that actually is not even what we label as sexy, not even at the least of interesting to anybody at all. Okay, so I could say that there's no best. I think the best here is more of like best is if it should come back to you yourself. If you yourself is actually capable to run the company, make some money, and then you need some financing, and to push your company to the next level, then good. Then that is where you position yourself, and this is where you you put it up yourself and raise funds. But again, you have to make sure you have all the ingredients. So you gotta have the right people, you gotta have the right products, you have the right potentials and the processes and stuff like that. You have to have all those, because without all those, it is almost impossible for to give yourself a reason to the investors to invest in you. Okay, because the last thing that you want is that ask someone to invest and then you lose all the money, and you cannot just turn around and say, yeah, willing buyer, willing seller. So yeah, that's it. It doesn't work this way. Okay, people can be cheated once or twice, but we should not. Okay, we should not. So you should actually position as a business that's viable before any investors even come and talk to you. Otherwise, you're probably going to spend months, if not years, going out trying to prove that your startup is good, is fantastic. Okay, I don't believe in all those stories. Okay, not that I don't believe in it. I think, yeah, a lot of startups or even a lot of founders always think that I have to go through, a passage, a very tough passage. I need to struggle like crazy. Therefore, I can be like a phoenix, a dark phoenix, whatever, or X-Men, whatever, one of those that rise from the ashes. Yeah, sure. But here's the thing. Why not just get advices from people who've been there, done that, to tell you whether is this even viable? If it's not viable, look at other supporting, materials, supporting documents, supporting case studies to justify whether is it viable. Sometimes it may be that your products or your services are too, too early for what the market needs, maybe too early, and may not be there. So it's okay to actually listen and then look into it, because if you cannot even convince yourself, how are you going to convince investors? So this is one of the things that you may want to consider. Okay. Also, how do you get really smart industrial experts and high performance to be in your organizations? Okay, good. Okay. The smart attracts the smart. Okay, this is what I believe in it. I mean, I'm not going to convince anybody, but the smart believe in the smart. So sometimes you are the smart one, but you may be attracted to people who are smarter. Okay, people who are smarter. So sometimes when you get, what this is not, it's not in the sexual thing or whatever, but sometimes when people are smart, they ask, they show. And you're like, oh, wow, I want to get some insights from this person. Because not everybody is a salesman. Not everybody is a business development or R&D guy. Sometimes we are just not there yet. So sometimes it's actually better to attract certain people with a smarter, higher, and better caliber, and attract them. Because you may have something that they need, and they may have something that you need. So if that is the case, then probably a plus and the minus can combine together. So for me, as an example, I dabble into quite a lot of different fields. I invested in quite a lot of different fields because my common denominator is that I'm good in structuring, I'm good in strategizing. But I do know that not everybody is good in strategizing. So, and I'm not good in operation. So I will be attracted to people who are strong, who are good in that aspects. So that means that anyone who is actually very strong in the operation side, then I know that if I want to go out to run, okay, I will need someone that I believe strongly who can back me up. So if that is the case, then I will look for someone who is actually very strong in the operation side, and I will sell myself. Okay, I will sell myself. Okay, I will want to sell myself in such a way that you're ops, you join me, I go out, we be good in what we are doing. And I go out to bring the sales, I go out to bring the money, you become the ops, you do what you are good in, and you support, and then we run the business together. So this is what I will angle it by attracting the smart. No, the smart attracts the smart, something like this. Okay. Yep. Let me see. Okay, I got one more question. Yeah, okay, I'm done. Actually, similar questions. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. And so if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to contact me. You search for Paddy Tan at LinkedIn, and then we can talk about it from there.